stars call him the Grabber.
I wish you wouldn't call him that.
You don't actually believe that story, do you? Because he can't hear you, and he doesn't really take kids that safe.
The Black Phone had big shoes to fill. Nearly a decade ago, the team of C. Robert Cargill and Scott Derrickson debuted Sinister. Their terrifying spectacle would strike fear in our hearts, with one scientific study ruling it the scariest movie of all time. 5 years prior, Joe Hill was publishing a short story, The Black Phone. Now, the stars have aligned, and The Black Phone is making its way to the big screen with Derrickson and Cargill adapting Hill's chilling story, and we're delighted to say that the film lives up to the already high expectations. This story is personal to both Cargill and Derrickson, a fact that's highlighted not just by the relatability of these kids' stories, but through the stark set pieces of the 70s that play a more pivotal role than some may expect. While some younger viewers may balk at the parents' use of belts and fists, plenty born before 1990 may sink back in their chair and recall some not-so-fond memories of their childhood. The Black Phone feels like a time machine, with no real interest in stereotypical nostalgia. It doesn't look like the 70s, it feels like it. There's a grit to it, and not just because of the dirt basement. The authenticity of the backdrop, paired with the honest portrayals of youth in the era, make it clear that there's a connection here between the creators and their story. Said authenticity is what makes it so easy to find yourself lost, and subsequently terrified, by the world that they've created. Because a good hunk of The Black Phone takes place in the aforementioned dirt basement, the film has to rely on the talents of its cast to keep us intrigued more than some other stories. Thankfully, Mason Thames and Madeleine McGraw, playing siblings Finney and Gwen, were up to the challenge. A lot of attention, and thus a lot of the praise, will rightfully be for Thames' stellar performance as his character is forced to stand up for himself in the face of a monster. But McGraw's contributions to The Black Phone cannot be understated. The fierce little sister trope may have become more common of late, but this kid's comedic timing is impeccable. She easily switches between snark, despair, and fear. Ethan Hawke, meanwhile, as the film's villain the Grabber, has to emote solely through his eyes while relying on the painted expressions of whichever mask his character is wearing at the time. We've always known what the actor was capable of bringing to the table, but The Black Phone presented new challenges that Hawke rises to meet on every occasion. The dude's terrifying. The scares here are never cheap. You'll jump, to be sure, but every ounce of distress is well earned. The supernatural element supports the terror, but it's the reality of Finney's situation and Hawke's unnerving Grabber that keep the tension throughout the story. Though abuse plays a role in The Black Phone, there's never anything overtly sexual. You'll never have any question about the Grabber's sick impulses, but the film expertly illustrates that you don't have to show something so explicit for it to be real to the audience. It's the threat of what he will do that keeps the story grounded. Overall, this really feels like Sinister's sibling. There are so many similarities between the movies, from creepy kids, home videos, and less than perfect parents. Despite those similarities, though, The Black Phone manages to be something completely independent. It's hopeful in a way that Sinister never was, and shouldn't have been. But there's also seemingly no solution to the horrors that Finney and Gwen face. You'll see strong parallels between the Grabber and the kid's alcoholic father. One hurdle can be left if the kids play their cards right. The other, though, lays in wait even if Finney manages to be the first kid to escape his captor. The aforementioned hope is less in Finney and Gwen's circumstances, and more in their connection and power as a team, and these talented child actors play their perfect pair of siblings. The writing-directing team of C. Robert Cargill and Scott Derrickson put personal traumas on full display in The Black Phone. All the while, they easily showcase the complications of childhood in the 70s and the very real monsters of our world, while the performances of the child actors Mason Thames and Madeleine McGraw take the already high story to new heights.
Step back and swing!
Look what you made me do.
Please hurry!
You remember what I told you?
There's someday I should stand up for myself.
Someday is today, Finn.